This video is a bit unusual for me, as this time I was guided to bring forward again the messages from Thoth for 2020 and 2021. In the message for 2021, he goes into the white crystal star, which actually is information he gave me some years ago, but then it's brought forward to a greater degree. Now, Michael Dunn and I did a video on that where I discuss it with him some years ago, and I will place a link to that in the information box below if you care to pursue it further. But it's not just a repetition of these two short videos. I'm going to take it further. I have more information now, a greater insight that Thoth is giving me from the perspective of 2024 as I'm making this video, and he felt it was important enough for me to lay it all out again. The first video is a little over 4 minutes long, and the second one is a little over 20 minutes long. We need to follow the whole event chain to go into the newest understanding of it all, which won't be too lengthy, but it's going to be the capstone of this video, and it will include some activational templates. I did choose to update some of the art that I used in it since it was made before AI, and I just couldn't resist, adding a little bit, but most of it is as it was. The first message actually was delivered to me in 2019, I believe in December. So I had no knowledge of the infection that would become a great part of our lives beginning in 2020, or any of that. And when you hear these messages, they aren't just about that year, just about 2020, just about 2021. This is the years that he is choosing to present information that is continuous, that starts more or less with that year. So we can look at it now from the perspective of 2024 and see it's still going on. Now, the white crystal star is the bridging mechanism for this whole consciousness event that we are experiencing now. Not just the parts that are unpleasant, but the positive things as well, and where it's leading us. So let us begin with the first message. This year is the entrance to the grand chamber within the pyramid of souls on earth. As humanity has come through the long corridor of 2019, so they now arrive within a vast chamber. They come out of darkness and confined space to a seeming vastness. It is still a mystery, but now the vision is expanded. There will be those who cover their eyes and try to return into the corridor, but that way is no more. For these souls, seeing will not be believing. They will create their own limited sight and scurry to the furthest places where they will find only more space. Others will pause on the threshold to the chamber and wait. Wait for others to lead them. Many will wait too long. Then there will be those who see and know the path. They will hold deep communion with the guardians of the way and find their true role amidst the chaos. The year of 2020 offers 2020 sight. Resolution can only come through self-awareness. It does not take many to break open the seals, yet those few must be unwavering and diligent in thought, word, and deed. There will be great undoing in this year. What began to be revealed in 2019 will come undone as tangled twine in 2020. As each strand is unwrapped, ancient barriers will come screaming down as in agony. What has been kept hidden for eons will pool inside the mouths of the naysayers until it cannot be contained any longer. The lies will turn to dust on the tongue, and many will become broken of spirit as a result. Yet this desertion of hope will be replaced by resolve to create anew, for hope must often become distilled into a sweeter wine of longing, from which a new creation emerges. Hope is generally a focus on the need for a particular outcome. Understanding grasps the reality and frees the emotions, charging the soul to action. 2020 is the beginning in earnest of a march to the promised land. Yet who has made this promise? It is given by the mandate of Lord Michael before time on earth began. So it will be fulfilled when these souls of earth free themselves from the self-imposed constraints they have created in time. However, there is more immediate brightness to shine in 2020. It will be raised up as a little light, so small as to be scoffed at by those who cannot see beyond their noses. Yet it will be the precious thing that grows in the night. For all those who can behold it and recognize its power, a true awakening will unfold for them from that glimmer. Each of you, look for, follow, and nurture this light. It comes from the way-shower's lamp. From the mandate of Zarathustra, humanity will bear witness to the whole truth. I received the following from Thoth on the white crystal star in 2012. The vibrational name for the star which shall be birthed from Rigel is Anba Nur, meaning house of the white or shining crystal. In order to truly understand both the cosmic and the spiritual birthing of this star, I relate to you the following. The worlds of Rigel exist within their sun and do not orbit around it as planets. They are planets in a manner of speaking, but not as you know such spheres in your reality. This means that they are not exposed to entropy, thus are not within the zone of elemental combustion. This allows them to exist within a star sun. Inhabitants of the worlds of Rigel do not look out upon their horizon and see molten plasma. They see beautiful aurora plains of colored vapor interspersed by dark regions containing brilliant stars. They have an environment and day and night. How can this be? This condition is caused by the planet's vibrational attunement to space. I will not discourse on the science of this occurrence, as it would be lengthy. Rather, I say to you that it is so. Space, and thus the cosmos, can be tuned in like a television program, and this attunement is determined by the vibrational zone in which that world is existing. When their star sun, Rigel, erupts in solar storms, their internal worlds are impervious to the violent action. It is noticed only in the changing of colors and contours of the vaporous light clouds. Thus, when the white crystal star is born from Rigel, the effect to its worlds will be enlightening rather than devastating. When we say that a star is being birthed from another star, this is not something understood by scientists of your world. They can view the results of this occurrence when the light of its happening reaches their telescopes dimly, but they do not understand what they are seeing. The star giving birth does not rip open and spill out another star. Instead, the mother star changes the spin of its magnetofield, and out of that long strands, light years in length, of dark matter, invisible particles come spiraling out. These strands then are drawn together in the birthing field the mother has created and will eventually form another star, which will contain an encoding that links it to its mother. The child star, then, is a new dimensional place from the intelligence of the mother star. Yet it has its own signature as well. It is in this way that every star, every one in the universe, is related to a complex family tree through branching signatures of light. Yet of the unimaginable number of stars in this universe, all of them have a root signature from among only 20 codes. These codes can be loosely identified in the Mayan glyphs. Yet the root signature is only the beginning, the watermark of the entire codex of one star. Using the Mayan glyphs as a starting point, Anba Nur, house of the white crystal star, is identified with the glyph of Ben. And now, as Maia, I say, in the Mayan oracle by Ariel Spilsbury and Michael Brenner, the glyph of Ben is given the qualities of fluid reference points, time-space traveler, skywalker, angelic messenger, pillars of heaven, courage, new directions, mysterious journeys, and compassion. The symbols are quartz, crystal flight, and heart chakra. After I was shown this glyph to be a corollary with Anba Nur, I then happened to glance at the bottom of one page on Ben in the Mayan oracle, where I read that the affirmation is, I am a pillar of the invisible heaven that brings heaven to earth. I found this line especially appropriate in reflecting the nature of the whole Orion dynamic. My question to Thoth: when will the birthing of Anbanur take place? And Thoth responds, the beginning of this cosmic event begins in your 2013. However, it will take millions of years for this star to form. Yet, one need look outside the box of linear time as it relates to Earth. Just as the new Earth star exists now to all who place themselves within its stream, so does Anbanur. Then I ask, how does the white crystal star relate to Earth and its new Earth hologram? And Thoth replies, it contains the seed program for its mother, Rigel, taking it to the full spectrum as a creational matrix for the new Earth star. This new Earth does exist within Rigel. However, the white crystal star is the determining code star for the entire evolution of Rigel as a host for the new Earth. Yet know this, the new Earth dynamic is only one part of a much larger evolutionary picture for the entire cosmic system of Orion. I might add here, outside of this article that I wrote, when we're speaking of Orion, we're speaking of a threshold. And even though Earth is not inside Orion yet, all the cosmos, as we see it from our holographic imaging, is connected to Orion as the gateway. And so now I continue with the article, and I am saying in this article, after coming to this place in the transmission, I open the Keys of Enoch by J.J. Hertog, and my eyes fall on 307:15:20. In this section of the key, it is explained that the light program for the current old Earth is symbolically represented by the right hand, while the future program is seen as coming forth from the left hand. To continue with this article, based on Thoth's transmissions here in 2012, he then starts speaking about certain hand art and how the hands relate to the, actually it brings us around again to the white crystal star. And I'm choosing to include this in this video because all of this addresses, very importantly, the year 2021. I know it doesn't seem to address it, but indeed it does. So let us continue with this. Ubanu is the hand art which called one to their sacred path and gave them protection along their journey. The Ubanu is the life picture of the soul in its incarnational journey, a roadmap of symbols to relate to the lines of the palms, as red likened unto a star map. Thoth now shows me how the palms of the hands, including the fingerprints, contain the star signatures of the unique Merkaba paths of each incarnated being. Merkaba paths are pathways of the soul in its journey through being, both in the physical and non-physical. In the transmission concerning the birthing star and the Ubanu handprint symbology, Thoth relates that the Ubanu was originally practiced at what we know as Machu Picchu in the Andes of Peru. Thoth states, where at that time it was the city temple of the moonthorn with its chamber of the sun at the summit. The few priests were the sorcerers of the temple. This term is used not as a dark connotation, but to say that they worked with powerful earth magic. They kept the veils up to protect the priestess oracles, who were often abiding in trance state for weeks at a time. They manifested the power to ground the stellar harmonics which the priestess oracles drew from the heavens. What Thoth refers to above as the chamber of the sun is called today the tomb of the kings. While they call it the tomb of the kings, 80% of the skeletal remains found there are of women. Beneath this chamber is the crystal sunstone of the returning Mamba, the ancestors of the stars. This sunstone was brought to the people by the Star Lords eons ago and energetically installed beneath the sun chamber, or rather, the sun chamber was constructed on top of it. The sunstone is charged with the codes of the new star, the white crystal star, acting as a beacon to recalibrate our human DNA into sun-born creation. When those from among the people who were chosen came into the chamber at the right solar-lunar cycle and went through a solar initiation there, they would become sun-born, carrying the creation codes of the new heaven and earth. Thoth speaks. When the hands are placed together as in prayer, the star maps, light codes of old and new programs are brought together to trigger a path for completion within the neural circuitry of the brain, sending these signals into the DNA crystalline structure, which in turn creates new faces on its crystals. This process is part of the transformative mudra for creating the pure gem body. However, it is not simply enough to put one's hands together. That is only a synaptic action to proceed the complete mudra, or rather series of mudras that can only be fully accomplished if the individual engaging it is ready in mind, body, and spirit for this activation. And now I say, in key 307-16 of the Keys of Enoch, the right hand is said to represent the Adam Kedmon blueprint of our earthly created form and program of evolution, the left hand opening the path to creation of the Christ race. I asked Thoth to address this, and he said, the Christ race is the complete engagement of the soul through the seven heavens, or states of universal progression, leading to the throne of Metatron, who is the gatekeeper to the atothic universe of non-duality. This is not a religious reference, i.e. Christian, but an acknowledgement that this race is consumed with the burning flame of the universal Christos. In essence, this Christ race becomes the house of the white crystal star. And I say, in key 307-19, it speaks of the 7 mansion worlds that have yet to be completed and released from their former limitations. Thoth's reference to the 7 heavens are the actualized and completed states of the 7 mansions, or houses. The house of the white crystal star is the Christ star, which houses the Christ race. In 307-20 of the Keys of Enoch is stated, the 7 seals represent the 7 chakras that must be opened so that the souls may ascend. Thoth relates to me that as human beings on this earth begin to recalibrate their personal akasha, and the lesser akasha of the planet disintegrates, so souls will only have the greater akasha as their reference timeline, and their star maps will be completely opened to the new earth hologram of ascension. The actual lines in the palms of the hand will change. This is already beginning to happen, and eventually even the fingerprints will transform. And so let us look at the message again that Thoth has delivered for 2021. Not all of it is revealed to me in regard to interpretation. I think that this may either be forthcoming as the year evolves, like the other one, was totally mysterious to me until it evolved into 2020. It was unimaginable to me, in fact. But with 2021, the message, there are some factors that I'm seeing unraveling here in regard to the white star and other things. And so, first let's look at the quickening of the 3 pillars on Mars, the 3 stars in the belt of Orion, and the 3 universes, which are the positive, negative, and neutral. I see a triggering response going on here. These 3 pillars on Mars, and I was able to Google and find some pictures of them. They're actually in photographs. These apparently are towers that are being reactivated to connect us in some specific way through what Thoth calls the gateway stars, which is the belt of Orion, which moves the whole energy pattern into the Orion, let's say, sacred sphere, a field or a dimension. The 3 universes, of course, Thoth speaks about quite a bit, being, the positive, the negative, and the neutral. And the neutral is an aspect or a gateway to the Atothic, which is the complete non-duality event within us, actually. So if we look at these pillars, as the pillars awaken on the dead planet, life will spring forth in a new heaven, preparing the way for the new earth. Well, how does this really affect us here on the planet in 2021? That's the big question, and that I can't answer. Not in 2020. We have to see how this unfolds. But obviously, it is a very powerful directing force that begins in the year 2021. Maybe not right as the clock strikes, but somewhere in that year. Yet the reality continues to be embraced by the mass consciousness on Earth that all is torn and trampled beneath a giant's gate. So it's not like we're all going to have incredible ahas and do the kumbaya. It's like, no, there's still stuff that is going to happen. But undercurrents of this event, this connection through the 3 pillars, is an important one. Then we look at the very last line, which is, for those who listen to the signal of the light senders. The light senders are sending their signals through these 3 pillars. Obviously, we're in contact with a lot of light senders. I mean, we're beings and spiritual beings and Thoth and, the Pleiades and all of these messages coming through. But he's speaking of a specific light senders that are coming through they're transmitting through these 3 pillars. Now, what dimension will these signals take? It's not necessarily that everybody's going to be channeling the light senders. It might be an entirely different kind of frequency than we're used to. Their path shall be one of victory for the soul. Many mansions will be made known to them through the mouthpiece of the white crystal star. Now, I must say to you that I did not remember that in the message, in the article and message given by Thoth in 2012, that mansions were mentioned. Actually, they're mentioned in the reference to the Hertok material that Thoth is saying is part of what he's speaking about. So, but I didn't remember that. So many mansions is very much tied to the white crystal star. So if we look at what I just read to you about the hand motions and the connection of this Chamber of Kings, which Thoth calls the white moon or the moon thorn, I believe it's the moon thorn, we see that chamber And these hand signals that he's speaking about, specific ones, I'm feeling, I'm knowing, that are linked to the white crystal star connection in 2021 to us here in our life, in our world of the old earth. See, we're moving through time portals here. We're changing timelines. We're gathering a collective consciousness that is not connected even to timelines. It's beyond that. And if we bring them into the crystalline timelines that are forming in our DNA, that will present itself to our world consciousness, this is stepping beyond the limitations that have been set upon us by the archonic sheath that is pressing down on our natural expanding skull, not only our physical skulls, but that of the planetary sheath. We are breaking through, and the white crystal star, the Christic star, is the keynote that will help us do that. And it begins in 2021. I am just now receiving from Thoth that on June 23rd, 2021, someone or someones will be within the Moonthorn chamber at Machu Picchu. And they will be connecting to and eliciting certain frequencies through the hand mudras that connect on a very deep level within the human spectrum of the DNA. Now that's saying a lot. That one person or several people will be able to do this. So they may not be people. They may be star beings or inner earth beings that have a higher connection, shall we say. And obviously this one thing is not, oh, this is it, this is how it happens, and we all receive the white crystal star dynamics. No, but it's a very important event in the whole spectrum of it. It is a trigger, and it is something that is necessary to insert as a human element within that field. And so as I say, a human element, it would have to be either a surface earth person or an inner earth person, because in the inner earth they are related to us. They are the migrators from the surface, even though they have a lot more star genetics than we do. So this is what I'm receiving now. It may flesh in more later, it may not. But there is someone who's very related to humanity that is going to be in that chamber at that time and initiating the right star signals that connect or help to connect the white crystal star to this reality. Because, of course, it's not on this timeline. It hasn't been created yet. It's just in its very first stages. But we are accessing it through the help with the light senders. We are accessing it in its full-blown state. I am seeing that whoever is in the chamber at the time is actually connecting also with star beings in Merkabas above that area, and also through the Hierophi connection within the inner earth. This would mean, and I'm seeing that it is so, that our Quantum Cube Logica project with the 9010 cube that is connecting to the Hierophi in the inner earth does play a role in this. What role, how much of a role, I do not know yet at this time. So remember, when the year unfolds and there are challenges, unique challenges, and there will be, what is underlying this year. For those who listen to the signal of the light senders. Their path shall be one of victory for the soul. Many mansions will be made known to them through the mouthpiece of the white crystal star. So keep the signal. Keep the signal before you. Now, in 2024, let us look back on what was delivered in 20 and 21, most specifically concerning the white crystal star, or rather the house of the white crystal star. Thoth refers to it as a house, as he means it is a collection of souls. It has a specific focal point in that collection of souls, a purpose. And it is also, he says, the lost Mayan glyph. Now, by that he means it has a coordination, a place in the Mayan glyphs that represent universal progression in the cosmos affecting Earth. The glyph of the white crystal star represents the culmination of the prophetic path of this planet as an ensouled being with all her ensouled parts, that is us, animals, plants, the whole thing, as it was given forth in the creational moment of this planet to be an evolutionary focus for spiritual reunion on many levels of dimensions in this cosmos, which, as Thoth has stated many times, originates within Orion. Not just the blue star, that's the migrational path of certain souls that established the planet for purposes I've gone into before, but from the center of the nebula of Orion, the creational font of this universe. So I'm going to have to restate for those who have not heard it before, because it sounds strange to say that this universe, the whole universe, originated in the nebula of Orion, in the trapezium to be specific. But we are looking at it from a linear, very, very limited reality. From the Thothic perspective, it is a holographic field projection, not from some alien somewhere, but from the natural causational purpose of universal continuum. Big words, and I'm not going to get into all of that. We have to stick with the white crystal star right now. But the white crystal star is a family group of souls. One of many, I am sure, but this family group of souls is connected to the prophecy of Earth. It is more than just connected. I must say, it is the Alpha and Omega of what we call Earth, and our holistic body of being that is existing here, learning here, going through this process in all these eons of time. Now, as we know from what we've just heard on the previous video parts, technically the white crystal star, birthing out of the blue star, has not even completed yet, or even hardly started from a linear perspective. But that's really not the point, because we must step out of the timelines. Again, we must move out of linear time and realize that we already are in the new Earth star, which is an extension of the field of the white crystal star, which is an extension of the field of the blue star, Rigel. So you see, it's envelopes of light, containing envelopes of light, containing envelopes of light. But let's come back down to Earth for a moment. This is just getting way far out. I understand it's not demonstrating the practicality of the moment. And I really want to get to that with Thoth's help. And that is, here we are in this seeming mess, okay? A real hot mess on the planet that's been waiting to happen for a long time, building to happen for a long time. It's part of the prophecy. Now, when I use the word prophecy, when Thoth used the word prophecy, he's not saying, oh, this is it, you can't do anything about it, you just have to, accept it, this is how it is. That's not what he speaks about when he speaks about prophecy. Prophecy is a directional moment that has been given forth from higher realms to help us, direct us to the greater light path. So these prophecies open a path for us, but they have a sort of a high magnetism, not a low magnetism, but a high magnetism in that they create information. And that information moves sort of like sine waves around it, like a field of light. Let's think of a prophecy as a star. We're just going to be metaphorical here. But if a prophecy were a star, and these fields of light started moving around it in high magnetism, they would say, here I am, the prophecy is being fulfilled. Here it is. Follow the prophecy and you shall be free, free of the stigmatism of the lower realities. Now you have free will, but only to a point, because your free will is often disassociated in many ways with your true higher cosmic being. So, it's like we think of freedom as like, I can do anything I want to. Well, it's not really. True freedom is aligning yourself to the higher cosmic being that you are, which may not always agree with what you think is freedom. But I'm getting carried away here. Let's get back to the point. So, a prophecy tends to herald itself. It blows its own horn because it is released from the desires, the heart, the feeling, the higher consciousness of human beings. And when I say desire, I mean the feeling of incrustation. I must get out of it somehow. Oh, I hear something speaking to me, telling me there's a brighter sun on the other side. There's always someplace else I can get this freedom from. And of course, a lot of this is illusion, but there's a truth to it. There's a deeper truth that there is something, indeed, something beautiful beyond the bend. So a prophecy heralds itself, announces itself in the heart in many different ways. But in that announcement, it also gathers desperation, a feeling of, for those who are really lost their way, a feeling of desire for power. There are all kinds of lower emotions, in other words, that can cluster around a prophecy and attempt to change the higher perspective to the lower perspective so that they can encapsulate it and control it. So anytime there's a shining prophecy star in the sky, there's going to collect a certain amount of lower thought forms, beings, whatever you want to call it, that want to appropriate it, appropriate the power and the dazzling light for their own purposes. And yet the star of true divine prophecy, not prophecy in the sense that, well, tomorrow you're going to slip on a banana peel, I'll let it be so. But the true prophecy, the higher realm of prophetic pathing to unity of the soul with the greater beyond, that prophecy cannot be dimmed. It cannot be led off course. It can be delayed as these lower forms need to be cleared from the path. but it will be fulfilled. Because when Thoth speaks of prophecy, he is talking about it from this higher divine understanding, and not somebody's, fortune-telling cards of the tomorrow you're going to meet a tall, dark stranger kind of prophecy. So we need to pay attention to that core resonance we have, all of us, with true divine prophecy. Back to the house of the white crystal star. These are souls who were born into that field to be able to help this, assist this light function of the prophecies coming out of that field for the earth. Now, these aren't all master beings. Many of them are. You can call them master beings. We have to have some name for it, highly evolved, almost angelic type beings like Thoth, luminaries, whatever. Many of them are, as I said, but there's people just like you and me who are out of that field as well, who are knowing there is some higher expression of ourselves that is so entangled with the future of this planet and the souls upon it that is undeniable in our inner being. Of course, even if you aren't from the house of the white crystal star, that doesn't mean you don't have those feelings as well, because the directing energy from that crystal star, as we're calling it, again, creates envelopes of light, and it comes into other fields of higher consciousness and triggers them and says, join me in this event, in this direction of supreme unity. So, it filters down into these other stations of light. But why am I making this video now? I'm putting so much emphasis on the house of the white crystal star. Let's don't look at it from a position of, is your soul from there and on. That really doesn't, that's not what this is about. Everyone on this earth that is breathing, incarnated at this time, is under the influence of the white crystal star, of that house of expression of being at this time, because it is bringing us as a whole into the prophetic reunion. And we are the ones, the light bearers, imperfect as we are the ones who are leading the way into this lost Mayan glyph, this stellar configuration that leads us home. It is a great responsibility, but it is one that we cherish because, as Thoth says, we were born to do this. In conclusion, Thoth wishes me to comment and to bring forth some frequencies of the Abanu, the hand art, which called one to their sacred path and gave them protection along their journey. The Abanu is the life picture of the soul in its incarnational journey, a roadmap of symbols to relate to the lines of the palms as read likened to a star map. However, we're going further with this now, because the Abanu came out of the alphabet. And the alphabet was mentioned in the Book of the Zarathustrian Lords video that I made recently. So let us look at that for a moment. The alphabet is encoding of light language. It is the script signals of the alphabet that can appear as open hands. It appears in other forms as well. But uniquely, the alphabet are also beings. They are also called the meta-archi. So the meta-archi, these high light being angelic whatevers, because I don't even know how high up they go, but that's pretty high, they can transform themselves into a sacred language, a font of communion. And this is the alphabet. So the meta-archi can become the alphabet. And the alphabet is this light language, this angelic light language, very unique. And it can present itself, and does present itself, as hands, not just the palms, but the whole hand in different configurations. It can also move into other types of symbolic forms. So when we are looking at symbols in our lives, out of ancient books, or maybe just something our 5-year-old child just drew, we are very often looking at alphabet symbols. On some degree. Some are more than others, that tap into that flow. But the Abadu hand art came directly from the alphabet. This unlocks the individual soul codes in the human experience for transference of the ego to the center of being, where true gnosis abides. And these signals come directly out of the house of the white crystal star. Now, how is that? Because they're angelic, and the white star is not angelic, but it is forming the patterns of the angelic realm. So the meta-archi, here they come, and they're swirling around, and they become the alphabet, the language, and the language is drawn into the house of the white crystal star. And then it is disseminated, put directly into our planet as energy manifestations that we can see and sometimes even feel and touch. I'm not going to take it any further. Our video is already pretty long. So I'm going to go into now some of the frequency art that Thoth and I created, just to take you through that emerging path and let you feel these signals in your being as we conclude with this video.